Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's me, Clayton, and I just got back from seeing Annabelle Creation. In a similar fashion to Ouija Origin of Evil, it seems that the prequel to the horror film is better than the original horror film itself. The original Annabelle was an absolute mess that didn't have a lot of scares and it wasn't very interesting, but Annabelle Creation is much better, delivering some actual suspenseful moments, a lot of tension, a lot of great atmosphere, and a lot of great acting from both the adult and child actors. Let's get to the story, shall we? The story is about the Mullins family. The father, Samuel Mullins, was a toy maker who made a beautiful little doll for his little girl, Annabelle. Unfortunately, one day his daughter got ran over in a serious car accident, and 12 years later, Sam and his now bedridden wife, Esther, open up their house to a bunch of orphans so that they may turn the house into their own orphanage. But, as you might expect, the orphanage is not what everyone expects it to be, and as you might expect from a horror film, there's a dark spirit lurking around that bears a resemblance to the Mullins' little girl, Annabelle. But that's all I'll say about the story without spoiling anything, because if you've seen the trailers, you've probably seen everything I said. Let's just focus on what I liked about the film. What I liked about this film was really the tension that it built up. It's not jump scare after jump scare, one right after the other. A lot of it is building up scary moments, and a lot of it's that creepy kind of horror where the majority of the film is full of the suspenseful music building up and our characters lurking around the house. And just when it feels like a scary moment's about to happen, it either doesn't happen and it's kind of a fake out, or it does happen and you're almost screeching out of your seat. I wouldn't call it one of the scariest films I've ever seen, but there are moments that legitimately frightened me, and the few jump scares that are there do feel earned. Also, the acting is actually pretty stellar throughout, as I believed everyone's performances, and even the kid actors are excellent, which is actually kind of rare if you look around child acting in various movies. Mainly the two kids, Janice and Lydia, were the best, which makes sense because they're pretty much the closest to main characters in this story, and they're given the most overall screen time. Their friendship is believable, and I genuinely felt sorry for both of them throughout the majority of the film. Samuel Mullins initially seems like a pretty cliche character of the overly protective father figure who doesn't allow anyone near a certain room, but as you go throughout the film, you learn that he does have a little more depth to him than that, to the point where you actually do understand him and his wife quite a bit. And one other character that I'll mention is Sister Charlotte, who is the nun who goes with the orphans. I liked her a lot. She has a lot of great lines, and I believe her actress did a great job. Another thing I'll mention about this film is the music. The music either comes across as very tight and suspenseful whenever something creepy might or might not happen, or when something creepy finally does happen, it just accelerates the tension from 0 to 100 in a matter of 1 second. Seriously, I was in the theater and some people were screaming out of their seats even when nothing was happening, simply because the music and the cinematography and the pacing was just done so well, to the point where we were anticipating something to jump out almost every single time that something could jump out, but it only happened once or twice. It doesn't feel like just lazy jump scares over and over and over. It feels like it's genuinely suspenseful and genuinely terrifying, where you're just gripping at your seats and you're just hoping and praying that something doesn't pop out and scare the living daylights out of you, even though you know it's going to happen eventually. Also, the effects used for the various gore and supernatural scenes are done pretty well. They're used sparingly enough so that they don't get overwhelming with their use as well. And the last thing I'll mention about this movie is the ending. It does have a reference to the original Annabelle, and I believe one of the characters returns from that story, but you don't have to see the original Annabelle to get into this one. You can basically just jump into this one without knowing anything about the first one, and I think you can enjoy it just as much as I did. So, Annabelle Creation is actually a good horror movie prequel that'll give you that feeling of what happens when something goes bump in the night. I give Annabelle Creation an 8 out of 10. See you next time.